Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kay Okutlano. I'm from South Africa and currently based in South Korea. If you're new around here, if you're not new around here and you're a returning subscriber, hey, what's up? So today we will be doing a 1-year life update. I have been in Korea, well, in 9 days. I have been in Korea for exactly 1 year. Wild. But yeah, I guess we're all here to find out how that's been going. I've actually done a 6-month update. If you haven't seen that, maybe you want to watch it first, because obviously what I'm gonna say now is a bit different. But yeah, I'm gonna put it up here and you can check that out. But as for, you know, the 1-year update, how it has been overall, I'm gonna start with the big elephant in the room, because I feel like I'm getting this question a lot. Is coronavirus. I'll start with the coronavirus update. A lot of people ask me, how are you still going out and traveling and able to do all these things? What are Korea's lockdown rules? Korea was never under lockdown. There was like a period where we were kind of under lockdown, but it wasn't like a government instruction. It was just everyone freaking out about this new virus, and so everyone stayed in their houses. But like, for the most part, the government hasn't ever officially said that there's a lockdown. They've encouraged like social distancing, and they put like bans on things like mass gatherings, so that's like clubbing, churches, certain things like that. They have like banned, and then later slowly opened up with certain regulations. So like pubs and karaoke places have to like get your name and all of your details and stuff like that. So they've done that. They haven't fully said you can't do this, you can't do that. They just discourage like huge groups of people doing certain things, which has worked. And if you're going to be a big group of people, then you must social distance and good hygiene practices. Or just if you're just you riding the bus going to downtown doing your thing, then you just need a social distance and practice good hygiene. So yeah, I've like, life has been normal in Korea, and especially in my province is not a lot of cases. I said that like 6 months ago. Yeah, even now, like no one comes to Chungbuk, really. Like no one comes to my province because it's just a lot of factories and farms, and then the big city is like hardly a lot of people know about the big city, which is where I am. But even in our big city, like, we don't have a lot of cases. Recently there has been a little bit of a situation because it was Eid and some foreigners went to an Eid service, and some of them, I think, I can't remember, maybe 6 or 7 of them, initially 2, but 6 or 7 of them tested positive for corona, and there were like 300 people at that celebration. So now that whole 300 people has to be tested. But as far as I know, I read an article saying that half of them have tested negative and the rest are still busy getting tested. So I don't know how that's going, but generally there's not a lot of corona cases in my city. So life is pretty normal. I haven't gone to Seoul since before corona spread, so I can't tell you about how life is there. But in my city, life is pretty normal. But from what I see on people's Insta stories, life is normal all over the country, and people are traveling. I've even traveled and it was fine. So yeah, people are just being cautious. And the reason I think this has worked for the Korean government where it hasn't worked for other governments is because Korea has focused a lot on tracking cases, instead of just being like, we have X amount of cases. In each city they'll be like, okay, we have a new case today, these are the places that person has been, please avoid going to these places. If you were at these places at the time that this person was at these places, please get tested, stuff like that. So like, if I ride the 105 bus and I'm a case, then everyone who was on the 105 bus at the same time as me or on that day has to get tested. Or if I don't know, just, yeah, just stuff like that. Like, they'll send messages to your phone, like emergency alerts, like, okay, today new case, this person was here, here and here on these days. If you were in this area, please get tested or go to a testing station. And then they'll say like, tested negative on this day, tested positive on this day, so you know exactly what's going on. So I think that's why it works, because you can avoid the areas where they have been, and just, yeah, stuff like that. And also, like, you are tracked as well before you even contract anything. Like, if you go to karaoke, or if you go to, I've only ever done it at karaoke, but there's like a QR code scanning thing, and that QR code is connected to like your ID in Korea, and so you have to scan that so that, let's say there's a case there, then they'll be able to track you and they'll be able to get you tested. So I think that's why Korea has been able to continue life as normal. A lot of companies at first were working from home, schools included, but it didn't apply to foreigners because yeah. So we were still going to work even when there were no kids and there were no Korean teachers. For the most part, there were like mostly no Korean teachers, and it was just foreigners going to work at schools, and like maybe the principal and like some of the staff, but like most of the school was not coming out. We were still going to work, which was a thing in itself, but yeah, we did that. And then schools opened, I think, in May. So they did like a soft opening where like certain grades started like 1 week, then they checked how that kind of went, and then the next grade started the next week, and then they checked how that went, and so on and so forth. So we did like a soft opening like that, but now everything is open, all the schools are open, and yeah, we're teaching like kind of normal. So what happens is the kids are online some days and in person at school some days, so they don't go to school the whole week. Also keep in mind, everything I'm about to say about schools is different at each school. So obviously the education office has never had to deal with the situation before, and so they kind of were just like, within these guidelines, do what you think is best for your school. So I'm talking about my school now, my main school, because even my travel school is different. But yeah, the kids are online some days and then in person some days, but it doesn't really make a difference to me because the way it worked out is that I teach every day, whereas some of my friends don't teach every day right now because their kids are online. But the way it works out for me is like, when my one grade is online, my other grade is in person every single day, and then my Friday school, they just go to school the whole week. So it's kind of back to normal for me, whereas other people get to chill a little bit more, and or not, because they have to prepare online materials, but I never really had to do that. So yeah, that's the situation for me. As for actual teaching, it's very different. It's so different. I feel like I had to relearn how to teach because it's just so many rules of things you're not allowed to do because it's not corona friendly. And I never really thought about like how much kids touch each other and like touch the same thing or like talk to each other in class, but like it's a lot. It's like they can't like touch each other stationary, so we can't do games where you need to touch things. We can't do group games because then you're gonna talk, and even though the kids are wearing masks and I'm wearing a mask in class, just you facing each other is not allowed. We can't, like, there's certain, like, we can't do activities that have too much movement because then they could sweat and that's a bodily fluid and that could spread, so that's not good. There's just a lot of rules like that I never really thought about before, so it's a little bit more difficult to prepare materials because there's a lot we can't do, and it's like I'm like trying to run out of fresh ideas here that are still entertaining, because I feel like classes have gotten a little bit more boring because it's a little bit more lecture style. And even if I do an activity in my small schools, it doesn't matter as much because the kids are less, so they can spread out more, so they can do like, you know, fun stuff, and they can do team stuff because they're spread out. But like in my classes where it's like 25 kids, yeah, we don't have that option. And so a lot of the games are like class versus teacher, and then you're like selecting numbers, and then not everyone gets to play. So I mean, I've tried to work it in ways that everyone gets to play, but yeah, it's a little bit of a challenge to think about ways to get everyone to participate in a lecture style class. But once again, some of my friends don't have these issues. They're just continuing as normal within regulations. So it depends on your school. And then on the note of school, this is kind of a big one. I have renewed my contract. There's an announcement. I'll be teaching English in Korea for 1 more year. People have asked me how long I plan to stay here. I will answer that in the next video, which is a Q&A. But yeah, I have renewed my contract for 1 more year. I've pretty much finished the process. I just need to apply for my visa extension, so yeah, which I'm going to do in like 2 weeks. But yeah, I'm teaching in Korea for 1 more year. So how it's gonna work is I pretty much have 1 semester, so that's like 6 months, not really 6 months, like 4 months, 5 months, whatever, left at my current school, and then I'm going to be moving to a new school. And because this works kind of for EPIC, it works kind of on a rotation. Like, there's not enough teachers in the province, foreign teachers in the province, so the schools get like 2 years with a foreign teacher, 2 years without, so you get kind of a rotation for like each teacher. So the girl before me taught at this school and then moved to my current school, so I'm gonna move from my current school back to that school, and they'll have a foreign teacher again. So I kind of know where I'm going. This can always change for whatever reason, but I'm gonna go on the assumption for now that that's where I'm going, and it's only like 5 minutes from my current school, so I can still bump into my other students. Like, I bump into my 6th graders who graduated because their middle school is right next to the school. And I think I will go from having 3 schools to 2 schools, but this is speculation. And this is just what I've heard, but I'm not sure. So that's kind of nice. Next topic, friends and family. On the family front, it's the same as what I said in the 6 months. You miss them, you have days where you're really homesick, but we talk very, very often. Like, the people that I'm close to in my family, and even the ones that I'm not so close to, we speak more than we used to when I was in SA. And I think my YouTube has been really great for keeping my family like in my life, because they know what's happening in my life because it's on the internet. So I think that was like something I did unintentionally. I gave them like a platform to know what's happening with me, so that's pretty cool. If you guys are watching this, hey, I love you. So yeah, that's family. Friendships have been interesting. I said that like forming genuine friendships is already a little bit difficult because you are not spoiled for choice. You know, you have like a pool of people that you can kind of choose from. And then there's just maintaining connections across provinces, across cities and stuff like that. And then there's also like, for example, if you are all in a certain situation and so you end up as a friend group, but it doesn't mean you're compatible type of thing. So there's a lot of dynamics into forming friendships, but I feel like now I can say these are my friends type thing. And these are people that I like to hang out with and like to be with. And if I'm going through a hard time here, I'll talk to this person. I feel like I have that now. The interesting part though is now, because it's been like a year, some people are going home. So now some of my closest friends are going home because they feel like their time in Korea is up, and I'm like still here, and I'm like, oh, I'll miss you. So that's kind of been weird to adjust to. Like, goodbyes are weird, and yeah, I don't know. That's just the friendship front. But yeah, my friends are good. We're having a good time. My local friends are nice as well. And yeah, the overall experience of being abroad, I'm touching on this now because just I feel like the Q&A videos are going to be very long and maybe going on a different path. But I think being in Korea, like coming to Korea, I already knew it wasn't going to be like the K-dramas and stuff like that. Like, I'm a very realistic person. I read the news, I watch documentaries about, like, you know, bad things that happen in countries. You know, you gotta know what you're dealing with. And so I was very prepared coming here, and I didn't have like any wild like fantasy expectations like a lot of people do. So, you know, I do acknowledge that the novelty of things wears off. Like, even if you don't have any of these weird fantasy expectations, the novelty of things wears off. And sometimes it's not just you getting tired of something, sometimes it's triggered by stuff. So just as a little story time, during Corona had like its peak in Korea, and then it like really calmed down, and then everyone thought it was over, but then there was a second spike, and this happened in Itaewon, and Itaewon is the foreign district in Seoul. And what happened was, a guy who had flu symptoms went clubbing, and you know, they weren't flu symptoms, it was corona. So he ended up causing a spread because a club is a confined space, and I heard they weren't wearing masks properly. I don't know, that's just what I heard. But I mean, obviously I read the news and stuff, but yeah, that can be a bit biased. And so this was a gay man, so this turned into a lot of hostility towards the LGBTQI plus community. And because it happened in Itaewon, even though the guy was Korean, foreigners got the slack for it, and even those of us who were not there got the slack for it. Like, there was just a lot of xenophobia happening at the time, and it was just really difficult to be foreign here, like, for a while, because it was like, whether you were there or not, they just think we all magically flock to Itaewon on the weekends. It's like our homeland or something. And so there was just a lot of hostility towards foreigners as well, and that was really difficult. And I think because of some of the experiences that came with that, I'm not going to get too into it. It wasn't that deep, like, I'm fine. But because of that, a lot of novelty wears off, because Koreans, at the end of the day, it's a homogenous society where they, you know, they all have Han and Jong, and you're just a foreigner. And so the novelty of a lot of things started to wear off after that. But it wasn't like I don't feel any resentment towards Korea. I just feel like, okay, these are the things I don't like and the things I like. Like, I can say very clearly now. But yeah, I will kind of get into that in the next videos, because they kind of fall into the questions in the Q&A. But yeah, otherwise this year has been really good. I've met some amazing people. Some of my goals have changed, and some of my goals, like for YouTube for example, my goal for the year was to hit 1,000 subscribers, and I hit 1,000 subscribers within 8 months of being serious about my channel, which is fantastic. So thank you guys. But yeah, like, it's been a really good year. I think I've learned a lot, and I'm really grateful for everything. Like, negatives aside, it's been a really great learning experience, and I'm excited to see what happens in my second year in Korea. So yeah. This has been my 1 year update. I try to make it short, that's why I'm speaking so fast. But yeah, if I didn't mention anything that you're curious about, leave a comment down below. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one, which is a Q&A in 2 parts. See you next time. Bye.